Good morning, and welcome to Movement and Meditation. My name is Pat White, and I'm coming to you from the Beacon Dance Studio in the B Complex in Capitol View neighborhood of Southwest Atlanta. And we're going to jump right into our focus of this week, which is a continuation of what we were doing last week. The fluids system from Body-Mind Centering as put forth by Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen. And just a quick review, last week we were focusing on the cellular fluids, the intercellular fluids, and the blood, both the arterial and venous flow of the blood. So this week we are focusing on the other three fluid systems as she has defined them, and the first one we're going to be looking at is the lymph system. The lymphatic fluid system functions as the defense system of the body. Through its system of vessels, the lymph moves in towards the center of the body from the periphery, from the intercellular fluid where the vessels originate. The lymph is the fluid of the lymphatic system and deals with defense, survival, the setting of limits, and the crystallization of action. And in combination with the cerebrospinal fluid, which is one of the other fluids we're going to be talking about today, sets up spatial measuring and tension. Lymph flows from the periphery toward the heart through lace-like vessels that extend outward as a counterbalance to the inward flow. And then finally, for this reading part, characteristic qualities of lymph are specificity, clarity, directness, a continuous steady flow of delineation, boundaries/limits, defense, clear focus, fine, delicate, detailed crystallization, spider's web. So, we're going to start our lymph fluid system exploration by focusing on our hands. And let's just place the two hands together, palms facing one another. And begin to really press towards press the hands towards one another. And as we do this, just notice for yourself how we are sensing the fingers, the palm of the opposite hand through what you're experiencing through the one hand. So I'm having experience from my right hand, feeling what my left hand is like, and vice versa. Left hand is feeling that same sensations from the right hand. And now I'm going to slowly peel the hands apart and go about a little wider than shoulder width. And now we're going to slowly bring the hands back together. And I'm going to try to really reach from the base of the palm across the center of the palm, and then allowing the fingertips again to come back together. And to peel apart, I'm going to reverse that so we have the base of the palm and then the fingertips, backs of the sides of the hands, directing the movement out. So our precision, our clarity that we're playing with is how precisely we can match the palms up towards one another, and then how we can very directly peel them apart from one another. Let's try this a little bit faster. So we have come in and meet up and open and extend apart. And again, together, meet up and open, extend apart. Now we're going to do this without looking at the hand. So we're trying to sense the directness and the clarity of all of that action happening and the peeling apart. Let's do this one more time together, and in and apart, and one more together, in, apart. Good. Okay. Now we're going to try some finger tip touching each other. So I'm going to go from one, I'm using the thumb of my left hand, and I'm going to go one fingertip at a time, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So all very direct and clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let's try this again without looking, seeing how precise we can sense and feel. 3, 4, 5, and 5, 4, 2, 1. And now let's shift hands. So my right hand, the thumb sticking up, and I'm going to again start the pinky or the little on my left hand. 3, 4, 5, developing this clarity, directness, pattern of fingertips to thumb. Let's do that one more time with the assistance of our eyes directing this motion. And now 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we're going to try this again. Let's look away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Looking a different direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. Oh dear, I had to cheat a little bit there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so you can see how much we rely on our sight to help with that sense of precision and directness and clarity. Let's shift a little bit with our dynamics and do a little bit of a clapping routine or clapping sequence. And let's also give ourselves a little bit of a rhythm. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, ba 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 ba, and ba 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 ba. Now let's try this again without looking. Yeah, ba 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 ba. And again, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3, and 4. Good. Let's shake the hands out for a second. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next fluid state, and that is the cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid is the fluid of the nervous system. It flows from the center of the body, the central nervous system, to the periphery. Produced in the ventricles of the brain, it moves down along the spinal cord and continues out through the cranial and spinal nerves into the tubules of the fascia, where it empties into the intercellular fluid of the connective tissues, and then into all the cells of the body. The cerebrospinal fluid relates to meditative rest and to the central core of unbounded self. Characteristic qualities of cerebrospinal fluid are effortlessness, lightness, stillness and activity, awareness, flow through the spine from the head to the tail and from the spine outward to the periphery, sustained timelessness, infinite spaciousness, suspension between earth and heaven. All right, so often we have used this without acknowledging it as such, but the cerebrospinal fluid and its focus on the spine itself to start off our movements each day to get the spine in motion. But now we're going to really more intentionally play with this idea of effortlessness, of free-flowing. What were some of the other qualities? Awareness, lightness, stillness, and activity. So also there's a little bit of an overlap between that sense of awareness that we have in our cellular fluid with the cerebrospinal fluid, which again is about the nervous system. So we're going to start sitting up straight and tall in our chair. If you're standing, which is always an option, you can do this standing. But we're going to collapse the ends of the spine towards one another, but this time we're really focusing on the fluids that are within the spinal column, the cerebrospinal fluid, and allowing it to just flow as we breathe as well. And with this curving forward, we're going to slowly uncurl the spine, but with this idea of sending the spinal fluid up, back up, from the base of the spine back up into the brain. And let's go ahead and add some arms with this, just to kind of help us with this image of sending this, the cerebrospinal fluid, the CSF, from the cranium, from the brain, down into the base of the spine. And then knowing that from there it goes out to the periphery, to the limbs. And then from here we're going to collapse. And again, feel the sense of the fluid returning back up to the brain. And let's do this one more time. Flowing down through the spinal column and then out to all of the peripheral points in the body and returning from the base of the spine back up. And let's give this a little bit of a circular feel now, with the arms reaching up as we collapse the spine forward. And I'm also using the pelvis tilting forward and then rippling all the way up through the spine. So big circles with the arms. Let's do 2 more of these. And again, lightness, free-flowing, awareness. And now we're going to reverse the direction. So the arms are going to come up and circle in and around, scooping. This quality of scooping with the back of the head, bringing the pelvis along. So the initiation this time is really from the top of the head, from the top of the cerebrospinal fluid. And last one of those, and let's relax down. And now we're going to try some twisting action. So I'm going to start with twisting around to my left side. I'm going to go ahead and reach with my right arm across towards the left side, and then come back down and twisting from the top of the head all the way down through the base of the spine, reaching. Now let's do one more of those. Twist and reach. And allowing the lightness, the free flowing of the cerebrospinal fluid. And now let's take the back of the, so initiation from the shoulder and allowing the hand to follow. There's that sense of sort of a little scooping action for those who may have ever paddled in a kayak or canoe, that same sense of how when you're pressing the paddle into the water and the movement happens through that. And let's come back to our center. And just taking a moment to rest and notice. And now we're going to go right into our third fluid state for today, and our final of the different fluids of our circulatory system, the synovial fluid. The synovial fluid, the fluid of the skeletal system, is produced in the synovial membranes of the joints. It functions to keep the joint surfaces lubricated, separated, and nourished. The synovial cavities are enlarged tissue spaces. The synovial membranes are modified connective tissue, and the synovial fluid is similar to intercellular fluid. Synovial fluid is the lubricating force of the joints and provides structureless free flow through the body. Characteristic qualities of synovial fluid are loose, rubbery, jiggling, free-flowing, unobstructive, rebounding, carefree, and relaxed. And so we're going to just find some of those qualities as well. So again, the fluids are in the joints. Let's begin returning to the hands and just feel that shaking of the wrists, the looseness of the fingers, which is very different than the precision we were trying to find, the directness with our lymph fluids. Let's take one limb in particular and find shaking, looseness, jiggling. Let's jiggle through the center of the body. And let's shift the jiggling to the opposite arm and hands. And let's send it back into the center of the body. And now we're going to send this sense of shaking and jiggling down into one leg. I've gone to my right leg. I'm trying to really loosen up the joints of the ankle, all of the intricate joints in the feet, my knee, the hip socket, shaking, releasing, and let's come back up into the pelvis this time. If we're standing, this might be a little bit easier for you without the chair sort of kind of minimizing how much shaking you can do. In fact, I will shake in a second, but let's now send it down into the opposite leg. And really loosen up. Right now, I'm starting to feel a little bit of tightening in my metatarsals in my foot, and so I'm going to is also, in addition to the joints being free and loose, it's also about the muscle system that's in that shaking back up into the torso. And now let's go up into our head. Let's shake forward, releasing the neck forward. And let's shake back and off to one side like we're trying to get some water out of our ears. And back into the shoulders again. And now let's do this homologously. So the top half, and then the bottom half, and now again the top half and bottom half. And now homolaterally, so one side and the other side. And again, and now let's try this cross-laterally. So opposition of limbs and opposition of limbs. Different directions again, cross-laterally. Releasing, letting go. All right, so let's recap for today. We have our precision of the lymph system. Another way we can play with this examination of the lymph system is actually to work with examining this idea of moving from the periphery towards the center of the body, which is how our lymph system, so it's about precision, but it's also about this specific pathway. And we can pinch and feel just the skin itself. So we're not necessarily trying to get into the tissues underneath, the muscles, but really feeling the skin. And let's go to the other side. So our lymph system, from the periphery towards the center, back to the heart. Really feeling the skin itself. And maybe a little bit from the legs. This is a good way to also really use the hands to help with circulation in the legs. Gravity pulls so much fluid down into our legs to help encourage the return of fluids back up towards the core of the body. And we have, so our lymph system, our cerebrospinal system. Let's take a moment to free-flowing collapse and rise, collapse and rise in the spine, feeling the fluid of the spine supporting and directing our qualitative states. And then last but not least, our synovial fluids. I'm going to, like I said, stand to shake a little bit. Doing the twist. And feeling all of that completely released. All right, so I invite you to come join us on Wednesday for our story circle, where we'll be sharing stories again, inspired by some aspect of these fluid systems that we've been playing with today. And then on Friday, we will return to some of this movement, but through, sort of processed through some of the ideas, some of the themes that surface in our story circle. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day today. I look forward to seeing you whenever I see you again. But thank you again to Fulton County Board of Commissioners for providing funding for this ongoing series. And have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.